A conspiracy theory. Rogue federal agents. It sounds like it's out of a movie, but this seems to be actually legit. That there was a concerted effort, I could say conspiracy, between rogue FBI agents to take down Donald Trump's staff because they hated the guy. I mean, look, Peter Strzok, that's the guy's name, I think I'm pronouncing it right, stopped the FBI from ending Flynn probe despite lack of derogatory evidence, unsealed documents reveal. Let me just break this down really simply. The FBI was like, we're done with this. We're done with Flynn. There's nothing here. And this dude said, no, don't close it. Leave this open. And they got Flynn on a technicality. We now know, this is what's crazy. They wanted to go after Flynn under the Logan Act, which apparently has never been used. And Jonathan Turley, who I believe a constitutional scholar, said it's shocking to see how desperate they were to manufacture a crime against Michael Flynn. Let's read the story. Internal FBI documents unsealed Thursday indicate that Peter Strzok, the now disgraced anti-Trump former head of FBI counterintelligence, ordered the investigation of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn to remain open even after it was slated to be closed due to a lack of so-called derogatory information. The materials surfaced just a day after explosive FBI communications revealed that top bureau officials discussed their motivations for interviewing Flynn in the White House on January 24, 2017, and openly questioned if their goal was to, quote, to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. These handwritten notes, written by the FBI's former head of counterintelligence, Bill Priestap, Fox News is told, suggested that agents planned, in the alternative, to get Flynn to admit to breaking the Logan Act when he spoke to then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak during the presidential transition period. The Logan Act has never been used in a criminal prosecution and has a questionable constitutional status. It was enacted in 1799 in an era before telephones and was intended to prevent individuals from falsely claiming to represent the U.S. government abroad. In late 2017, Flynn pleaded guilty to making false statements to Strzok and another agent during that White House interview. And the only reason he did was because he was scared they were going to go after his son. So he said, fine, I'll take this offer. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think the dude actually did anything wrong, especially with what we're learning now. And he only pleaded guilty to save his son. Thursday's document release shows that on January 4th, 2017, weeks before the fateful January 24th White House interview, the FBI's Washington field office issued a closing communication indicating the Bureau was terminating Crossfire Razor, the newly disclosed code name of the investigation of Flynn. According to the January 4th memo, the goal of Crossfire Razor was to determine whether Flynn was directed and controlled by or coordinated activities with the Russian Federation in a manner which is a threat to the national security of the United States or a violation of federal foreign agent laws. In pursuit of information on Flynn, the Crossfire Hurricane team investigating the Trump team conducted a check of logical databases for any derogatory information on Flynn. The January 4th FBI report states that no derogatory information was identified in FBI holdings. Let me stop and break this one down. An investigation was launched into a 3-star Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, National Security Advisor to Donald Trump, or to his campaign. They were trying to see if this man was working with the Russians, and they concluded he was not. They found no evidence to suggest he was. Strzok decided, so what? Keep the investigation open. And then leveraged against him, we will go after your son unless you plead guilty to lying. So Flynn did. Flynn did nothing wrong, was found in the investigation to have not coordinated or colluded with Russia, and they threatened to go after his family. We're not talking about law enforcement. We're talking about a mafia-style, a mafioso shakedown of a person who served their country. Now, this goes above and beyond insane, if you're to ask me. Look, we better see some prosecutions on this one. I mean, the evidence is out. We can see it. We know what he did. The memo also discusses additional FBI efforts to check information on Flynn, apparently through other U.S. agencies. Just like the FBI, they also found no derogatory information on Flynn. The FBI's investigation of Flynn also included reaching out to a confidential human source and an analysis of Flynn's travel. The confidential source informed the FBI of Flynn speaking at an event which remained redacted. The CHS further stated that Flynn had dinner and drinks with those in attendance and took a cab and a train with an unidentified individual whose father may be a Russian oligarch. That may be a reference to Svetlana Lokhova, a Russian academic and author who has disputed any ties to Russian intelligence and has defended her brief interactions with Flynn, including in interviews with Fox News. It appears the FBI found no concern for any of Flynn's ties to Lokhova. Based on the lack of derogatory information, the Washington field office concluded that Flynn was no longer a viable candidate as part of the larger Crossfire Hurricane umbrella case. Furthermore, the author of the memo noted that since Flynn was not specifically named as an agent of a foreign power by the original Crossfire Hurricane predicated reporting and discussed the absence of derogatory information or leads, he also wrote that at the discretion of FBI management, Flynn was not interviewed as part of this case, closing procedure. The January 4th memo concluded with this paragraph. The FBI is closing this investigation. If new information is identified or reported to the FBI regarding activities of Crossfire Razor, the FBI will consider reopening the investigation if warranted. Yet on the same day, January 4th, 2017, Strzok instructed the FBI case manager handling Crossfire Razor to keep the investigation open. Hey, don't close Razor, Strzok texted an unidentified individual. Strzok informed the FBI case manager that the FBI's 7th floor was involved, referring to FBI leadership, that they still need to decide what to do with him with respect to redacted. It's currently unknown why Strzok directed the FBI case manager to keep the Flynn investigation open. However, the timing of emails between Strzok and ex-FBI lawyer Lisa Page seemed to suggest that they used the Logan Act to keep Crossfire Razor alive. Strzok forwarded a 14-page research paper on the Logan Act the same day. Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley called the revelations about the FBI's conduct chilling, especially given that the Logan Act has never been enforced and seemingly has little modern-day relevance, even in the abstract, saying, quote, "I have been a criminal defense attorney for decades. I have seen abusive tactics. However, this is one of the most thuggish records I have ever seen. Most concerning is that they were trying to create a crime, not investigating a crime. The use of Logan only highlights that bias," he added. "There was a time when networks like MSNBC and CNN argued for civil liberties and against such abuses. Now, because such principles would benefit Trump, there is such a shrug with a common mantra: everyone does it. Yes, abuses occur, but that is not license for their commission." Conservative commentators seeking to understand the FBI's actions have noted that former President Obama personally had warned the Trump administration against hiring Flynn and made clear he was not a fan, according to multiple officials. Obama fired Flynn as head of the Defense Intelligence Agency in 2014. And now many conservatives are saying that these documents that were released now implicate Barack Obama. The reason being, they sought authority to keep things open, to move forward with what they were doing. They say during the White House interview, Flynn told the agents not really when asked if he had sought to convince Kislyak not to escalate a brewing fight with the U.S. over sanctions imposed by the Obama administration. According to an FD 302 witness report prepared by the FBI, Flynn also reportedly demurred when asked if he had asked Russia to veto a UN Security Council resolution that condemned Israel's settlements in the West Bank. The Obama administration abstained that vote. Flynn issued other apparently equivocal responses to FBI agents' questions, and at various points suggested that such conversations might have happened or that he could not recall them if they did, according to 302. But questions remained as to the strength of the FBI's case. Then FBI Director James Comey admitted in 2018 that the Flynn interview at the White House did not follow protocol and came at his direction. He said it was not something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized administration. And then FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe later said the interview was very odd because it seemed like Flynn was telling the truth to the two agents who interviewed him. Flynn, the interviewing agents told McCabe, had a very good recollection of events, which he related chronologically and lucidly, did not appear to be nervous or sweating, and did not look side to side, all of which would have been behavioral signs of deception. Yet, what did they end up doing? They said they would go after Michael Flynn's son, and so he caved, even though we now know, in a series of images being painted by these interviews and by these documents, what else is there? Now, many people have brought up some conspiracy theories. I'm not going to get into this. Look, Some people are saying, Tim, you're way behind on this story. Why aren't you talking about this years ago? I could have. But right now we have definitive statements and evidence backing all of this up. And that's all I can do. The best thing about making sure we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed is that you can't deny this anymore. It is now in plain sight what they did. An innocent man had his family threatened by rogue FBI agents. They were going to go after his kid, so he just pleaded guilty and gave them what they wanted. If they can do it to him, they can do it to you. And guess what? I know this. I've always known this. Where has the principled left gone to challenge the authoritarian encroachment of the executive branch? Nowhere to be found, it seems. They have no problem throwing an innocent man under the bus because it hurts Donald Trump. These people have lost their minds. Or they never had them to begin with. I don't know. I'll stay on this story. We'll see how there's more to come, I'm sure. Maybe we'll see some indictments. Stick around. I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.